I and Bridge Housing is immensely proud to launch our new arrears management initiative, HandUp, towards a debt-free future. And HandUp is a key initiative for Bridge Housing to improve our tenant well-being and reduce our tenant debt, and to help our tenants reduce their debts. And it involves 4 integrated steps. Firstly, through saving and sustaining tenancies, and that's what Bridge Housing is about. We want to provide long-term affordable housing. We want to sustain tenancies for as long as we can for the most disadvantaged people in the housing market. It's about stopping vulnerable individuals being evicted, but it's more than that. It's about setting people on the right path back to a stable and a more debt-free future for themselves and for their families. I think that's really important because we know what debt does to families, how it can eat away at family bonds, and how you become easy prey to sort of easy lenders, which then tends to deepen and reinforce the cycle. Secondly, it's assisting tenants to access appropriate support services and to develop further skills. So HandUp provides an added incentive for tenants to engage with support. The key is, if we're to address the underlying causes of debt and break the cycle of crisis. By the end of the HandUp program, we anticipate that tenants will have 0 or close to 0 arrears. Thirdly, this will only work by fostering a collaborative relationship between housing and support services to provide holistic services to vulnerable individuals and families at risk of homelessness. It's working together to keep people housed. And HandUp is one of our strategies through our new support partner strategy, which we launched last month, to ensure housing and support are collaborating closely for the benefit of our tenants. And fourthly and finally, HandUp will help inform our future interventions into debt management, providing us with vital data into how, why and whom gets into housing debt, and what early interventions could be taken to mitigate and reduce the impact.
It's a really constructive way for people who frankly have very few options, and for HandUp to reduce rent arrears and to prevent evictions, especially evictions into homelessness, which we know often leads to such devastating consequences in people's lives, including falling foul of the justice system. And in recent years, the legal services sector has become and really begun to really appreciate more and more the connection between debt, homelessness, family breakdown and offending. And safety nets like HandUp and the WDO program are critical circuit breakers that do make a huge difference in people's lives, and we see that every day in the work that we do. So, congratulations Rebecca, Reese, the HandUp team, Bridge Housing. You've done a fantastic job getting this off the ground. It's a really important example of how it's possible to combine business needs as well as having a really compassionate, client-centred approach to the way you deliver services. And frankly, we need much more of it, especially if we're going to stem the tide in New South Wales of the growing number of people in disadvantaged circumstances. So thank you. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it grows and innovates and expands.
Over the past 12 months, or since the Going Home, Staying Home reforms, Homelessness New South Wales has been really getting out and talking to the sector as much as possible about how the implementation of the reforms has been going. And I'm pleased to say that one of the major positives from the Going Home, Staying Home reforms is actually the improved referrals and interaction between Fax Housing and between community housing providers and specialist homelessness services. See people having huge debts that on income support you've just got no possibility of repaying really at all. So I just wanted to say that. So in terms of supporting that really good outcome that we've got from the Going Home, Staying Home reforms, Homelessness New South Wales has been focusing on 2 things to really support that work. The first has been improving the referrals from Fax Housing to specialist homelessness services so that they're early, so that people don't have huge arrears in the first place, but actually have a smaller amount of arrears and are less at risk of being evicted. And so I'm pleased to say that we're about to release a statement of commitment with the Department of Family and community services, which focuses on early referrals to specialist homelessness services by fax housing to really prevent that cycle of being evicted and referring to people at the point of eviction. So that's really exciting. The second thing is, great minds think alike, is looking at the possibility of getting systemic change so that WDOs can be put in place across the board for social housing rental arrears. And so I'm really excited that we're here at the launch, and I'm really excited to see that Rich is doing this work, because we have been beginning to have conversations with a range of different organisations around how we might develop some case studies and really mount the case for this to be brought in across the board, across the social housing system.